Oh.
Yeah, I think we worked out last time too. I was worried because it said something about it was converting.
Yeah, it does, it converts after every.
Well, we had it doing that and then all of a sudden we come back and it was black. I thought, oh no.
It just went to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had
we
to
were
finish,
worried
I had to
that maybe
finish
it lost
converting it.
Yeah.
You didn't lose anything with it.
Yeah.
Cause it saved onto the computer.
All right, well, let's give Dave another minute here.
Okay.
He's parked over at the, maybe he's getting a coffee or something.
Maybe.
No, could be. Hurry, just get this later going.
Well, I acknowledge it though, it is the problem, I think it's important to do that.
Well, I mean, as long as it's, yeah.
I think the big machines out of it.
Yeah,
So
they call that right.
I think it's a lot of yourself.
Okay, yeah, Thursday.
No, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. So cool, yeah, that's good, because, you know. It didn't expire April.
I mean, you should.
I just
Sit up
American flag.
They're just long desks.
And then they have the back side.
IKEA, but there's two on Zoom.
Yeah, I think there is some of that language. in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I had a hat on, I went down, and then I had another one here, so the kids could, and then when I got my dad's like, goes up and down. Yeah. So I got the L, and then U.
All right, well, I'm hoping Dave shows up. Oh, there he is. All right. All right, I'll go. Dave sits down, so we can get a date. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we just ask that you be here with us tonight, give us wisdom and understanding. Help us to do the business to the for the township to the best of our ability, but we lean on you for grace in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank everybody for coming out. Quick roll call.
Michelle Jackson. Here. Christine Johnson here, Jim LePew.
Here.
Bob Underhill.
Here.
And David Cox.
Here.
Everybody's here.
Chris, is there any conflicts of interest among our board here today? Anything?
No.
Anybody? No? Great, no? None. All right, we have a real simple agenda here today. We're just gonna be working on policy creations and job descriptions hopefully, but anyway, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
A motion to approve the agenda.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Any public comment before we get going?
I know a couple, some people know it. We now have, outside the government, we have our 501c3, has been approved by the state and IRS. And it is called Friends of Clearwater Township Parks. The goal of our committee is, well, I can read you Mr. Statement, to provide leadership and resources to maintain and improve all Clearwater Township parks for the enjoyment of all people, including those with disabilities for generations to come. So we're starting with that. We already have our first deposit. Thank you, Jim. And so we're gonna start doing that. The other thing I want to mention, I now have 3 more volunteers to do islands. I think we got a couple left of it as well, so. They're excited to get started.
Okay, Dave.
MSU handed in their report today to the professor. That'll go to the DNR and then it'll get back to us eventually here in a couple weeks. I don't know if this is possible, but I was wondering if the Patriot Park me being the outreach coordinator could have a, push 6, to leave a message here to be more professional with our fundraising efforts, because that's gonna start real quick, and I'm gonna be getting all kinds of people spending money.
I think you'd have to be number 8.
Well, I'm just throwing out the
6 is taken.
and wondered if that was possible, and then also, along that same lines, if we could create Parks and Rec, get your permission, to create a outreach coordinator, me, an email, so that goes to me instead of all the parks and that, so I can be professional and return these emails for all the money that we're gonna raise. And, we have I think I sent you guys that, ad. You see that ad in your emails? That's coming out, and we're gonna use that for the Trout Festival. That'll be a little postcard that I'll be handing probably 500 of those out. And to get the word out. In fact, the VFW's having a pig roast, and so I'm gonna hit the deal. I pick up trash for them too. And, we got the hashtag going, so that, when they, they like the hashtags.
What is the hashtag?
It's a little barcode, basically. I call it.
Oh, you mean the QR code you're talking about?
QR, that's what I mean.
Okay, that's not a hashtag.
QR,
Yeah.
excuse me. QR code, and then that way they can go to our new website. We have a website up.
What is that?
It's, PP, Patriot Park Veterans Memorial, shortened down, .org.
PP,
Patriot Park Veterans
What is it all spelled?
Memorial, .org.
okay, but it's all spelled out?
No,
Just
Just
PP.
PP.
abbreviation.
Veterans-memorial.org.
Yeah.
So PPVM?
No, PPVM.org. Cause they want everything,
Okay.
Patriot Park's too long.
Right.
And so, anyways, if that's possible to get it at number 8, or my email just to me, because Parks and Rec, they're really, you don't get communication, well, let's just say that, I don't want.
We need to work on that.
Pardon?
We need to work on that better because we need to communicate.
Yes, but I still don't trust them if I'm gonna start raising money. I wanna know people are sending money and I'll get back to them, because they didn't get back to the Rotary Charities, which they told me they did. There's been lots of issues, let's just say that. I don't wanna get into that. I don't trust them. Don't trust them.
Okay. Yes, Dave.
Just briefly, Milton Township, adjacent township to the west, has,
24th.
they've had a short-term rental ordinance for a long time in there. They're doing a review of it Thursday morning at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yep.
You guys, okay, yeah.
I did. I don't know if everybody else did.
Yeah, it's at 10 a.m. They're just having a special meeting, to review their
Short-term rental stuff.
rental ordinance. They're reviewing also their land division ordinance at the same time.
Mhm.
What day was it?
Thursday morning at
This
10 a.m.
Thursday?
And it's their township hall in Key Wade, right next to the tennis courts.
I was thinking,
Pete, anything for public comment? No, okay.
thank you.
All right, then. I think we are free to begin our discussion. Was that, time at the township hall, maybe because you got those other things added to the mix that we were working on there?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The, general policy man, remember we blended it with, a couple of the other things you had brought up.
Oh, are you talking about, board meeting rules and guidelines?
Well, that was part of it, yes,
Yeah,
yeah. I thought maybe that's why you were over there, is because you were copying.
well, yeah, I have the things to make a motion for, and I have, one copy for each board member to discuss.
Okay.
Whenever.
Is this on
time is
the
appropriate.
board policy or?
It's policy for zoning administrator.
Okay,
Would you like to start with that, or would you like to start
How
with
many
something else?
policies are we looking at tonight? Because, I
Well,
mean,
this is pretty straightforward, it's 2 pages, and right now, the zoning administrator position, there's no policy. The timesheets are a joke. And based on what I've experienced as a resident, the problems I've experienced for over 10 years, which is the reason I'm here as a trustee, they need to be addressed.
Okay, I agree with a lot of what you just said there, but I do think that there is a policy in place right now for that. I'm not saying it doesn't need work done, I'm just saying I think there is one, just maybe hasn't been located.
Okay, well, even if it is located, it needs to be compared to this. And we need to discuss it as a board and make the appropriate decisions.
Right.
Good. Would you like me to pass them now, or you would want to talk about?
We
some
should
more?
all have a look at it, I'm thinking, but I don't know if that's the first one to start with, but it's.
Did everybody, look in and read that a copy of the telecast,
I've looked at that extensively.
Okay. So I printed it out, I didn't know if everybody had a copy, so not.
It was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in there.
You like me to read this, or does everyone just want to read your own copy and we'll discuss later?
We can just read them and go over it.
Okay.
Very entertaining for the Zoom people that follow us on the YouTube channel. 5 minutes
Oh,
of silence, yeah,
Sitting here.
always sitting inside.
Zoning administrator duties are listed in the zoning ordinance.
I know I've seen it, I'm just not sure exactly where, so.
Section 25.03.
Is something you can print on this printer right here? Or you can email
I
it.
might be able to take mine over there and plug into it. I can find it. Well, I can find it right on the township. So I'm just about there.
I'm sure that whatever it is, it's missing.
Well, this doesn't show anything about, doing the actual zoning.
Well, it's not job description, it's policy.
Before we. This one here, this should probably go to our town.
something that you said, earlier that I just wanna clarify a little bit, okay? Our current zoning policy or our zoning administrator was updated a couple years ago. You said that you haven't had, any accountability or anything for about 10 years. I don't know.
No, first of all, he's only been zoning administrator for a year.
Right,
Okay. And I haven't had any accountability, well, I've had, I think you need to rephrase that, I mean, meaning that no tickets have been issued by the township, even if they've been promised, through, two previous boards, possibly three.
Hmm.
Yes, that would be correct.
sounds like it's written specifically for our zoning administrators, so
So
that's
it's,
why.
it's written for whoever has the position.
I would like a copy of the ordinance.
It's on the website. No, it's the ordinance.
Let's see if I can-
22, section 25.
And that was, and then what their job duties are,
Yeah, how they're appointed, their eligibility for appointment, their duties.
I'll
And
see if I can print it up.
compensation,
You said it was ordinance 20?
22, ordinance 22, section 25.
This, the part of this here that I propose that addresses daily timesheets, that could be applicable for all employees.
Mhm.
But the thing with zoning administrator, there's just a start time and end time, doesn't tell you anything about what happened during the day.
Mhm.
And, there's been days where I've been in the office and he has not been there all day, but it's on his time sheet. So the way it's set up right now, it's, ripe for fraud. And whoever's doing that job or any other, employee related job. The timesheets, the main thing is you can't be on the clock, taking care of personal emails, browsing the internet, talking to your friends and whatnot while you're getting paid. You
Okay,
need to sign out and sign in. And we just passed a, wages for everybody, wage increases. And, I can see how we're gonna exceed the budget unless we are serious about addressing timesheets. And being honest. And being accountable for your time and being efficient.
Really doesn't say a whole lot, but. I think. Well, I don't know if this is. A policy issue or. The-
Another thing is if you pull up records on previous ordinance violation complaints, unless you can go to whoever the zoning administrator was at that time, you have no clue what happened. It's not detailed. And we can't have a system where we're dependent upon the current or any prior, especially in situations of lawsuits. We need really detailed record keeping, who said what, the dates, times, photos, videos. anything that the complainant provided along with his ordinance violation complaint paper that he signed. If you look at
That's
old
what
files,
the former zoning administrators did all of that, and they trained John to do that.
The prior ones, were they contractors or were they employed by the township?
They were employed by the township, they were under contract though.
And John doesn't have a contract, but he's a township employee.
He was.
And then
appointed.
he would be covered under whatever the ordinance is for what his duties are.
Yeah.
So
So that's what I'm looking at this going, I mean, if it's an ordinance, in order to put any of this in play, would the
We would
ordinance
have
need to
to
be
change-
updated?
It would have to be
If you
updated.
change anything in the zoning ordinance in particular, that's an amendment to the zoning ordinance, and there's a process. for
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is,
Public hearing involved and.
right.
yeah, but we're talking about two different things here. We're not talking about
Well, we
ordinance.
just wanna make sure that nothing to do with the ordinance is involved in this.
I don't know why I lost all this formatting, that is what it is. It's just-
And Christine, it's not a huge deal to amend that,
Right.
but there's a process.
What
We
were
have to adhere to.
Ordinance
He's
22, section 25.
Okay, so this is nothing. I mean, this is ordinance, I'm talking policy.
Right.
Okay.
now does the ordinance supersede the policy if a policy is not adopted?
Well, when the zoning ordinance particularly is the law.
Yeah, that's thought it's the law of the
And so
land.
I'm not an attorney, I can't answer that question.
We would have to.
It would be my,
amend the
it would be my assumption.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, it's something that we should talk to her to.
Just so I
that we're not
understand,
Contradicting
There is more.
what is our ordinance.
it appears I'm hearing objections to this, is that correct?
Well, it's not
No,
that
no.
they can approve, for sure.
Well, yeah, but, do I feel opposition to this proposal?
No, I just wanna make sure we do it right.
Okay, great. There's something needs to be done.
So is this something that we should probably talk to our attorney as far as to
Yeah.
make sure we're not contradicting our ordinance or if we have to amend our ordinance?
Let me take just a second, read this real quick.
Because it does literally have his duties listed, what he does.
It doesn't matter if he has duties listed, they
In the
need to
ord-
be
in the
changed or
It's,
modified.
it's in the ordinance, so
That's
not,
fine,
not
but
the
just because it's
policy.
in the ordinance doesn't mean it's there, it's set in stone and it can't be changed.
No, that's what Dan was saying, it's easily changed, we just have to know the process.
Procedure.
Okay.
I think that, as far as like a requirement of his duties and stuff, I think that lays it out pretty good.
It does.
Doesn't
Now, if we
necessarily-
wanted a job description or something of that nature, that would seem to be more of what is
But it's
written
not,
in policy. But
Does
we
the zoning
would probably
administrator
have
have
to.
any paid for phone, township phone?
he has a township phone, I believe, he has an extension in his office.
Oh, not a cellular phone,
Not a cellular phone,
And he
no.
actually drives his own truck now too. He said he doesn't really drive the other truck. He uses his own personal truck.
For the most part, yeah.
And turns in mileage,
No, he hasn't.
not
even-
turning in
he
mileage,
hasn't.
rather than,
The way the current system is set up and being used, we have no accountability for what he does, where he's at, and how much he's charging us in relation to what he's doing.
He goes where the call's taken.
Again, what I said still stands.
Well, you said we don't know where he's at, and that's not true. If he's,
Well, if we have a timesheet that's filled out daily and it's accurate and it describes odometer readings, where he's at, phone calls received, made, things to verify what we're paying him for, then there's no issue. But right now, we don't have that.
I think we had talked before about that's something that you want to implement, not just for zoning, but for everybody that works hourly. So even the deputies would be required to be a little more detailed in their job.
That's very good. I mean, your deputy, has timesheets that are immaculate. Every time she has a personal phone call, someone walks in to bring her lunch, whatever, she signs out.
Yep.
And gets rid of them and then comes back in and continues to work.
Yep.
And that's what we need for, even with due respect, working home and hell. I'm not accusing you of violating. I'm just saying, when you're at home, you can't be browsing and doing personal things while you're charging the township. You need to sign out and sign in.
I can tell you, I take most of my phone calls and I don't write them down, so
Well,
I don't claim a lot of stuff I should be claiming, but I think it comes down to, do you wanna be that employer who trusts their employees? Has there been any wrongdoing that you know of? But I know for a fact that if I'm micromanaged, it's not gonna be as productive. It's gonna get ugly. So, I mean, cause I'm an honest person, like I said, half the time I don't claim a lot of stuff that I should be claiming.
well, the honor system, I mean, if you're saying we just need to continue with the honor system, I respectfully disagree.
Sure.
I wanna take I believe we set a cap of 15,000 for you this year,
Yeah.
okay? And I believe we raised your hourly to 23. Okay, so that's 652 hours for the fiscal year. Now, prior to that, 15,000 divided by 19.57. 766 hours per fiscal year. That's a difference, that's a reduction of 114 hours to stay under the $15,000 cap. So
she's also working under the office administrator bill benefiting for.
that's why we raised her cap to 15,000 to cover.
No, it was
For this
18,000
office and the-
before, we lowered it to 15,000.
My
On this
15,000 is,
budget.
yeah,
That's
for the
for treasurer.
deputy,
Yeah.
and the extra stuff I do is under admin, the administrator.
Okay, it's my understanding last year we made 10,000.
I think I've been.
It was under
Might
10.
have been under.
Yeah,
It was under.
first of all, I'm not insinuating that you're doing anything wrong or cheating on your time sheets, and we're just having a discussion about this, okay? So the zoning administrator has way other, permits and, ordinance violation complaints, and there's more moving parts to that department than what our deputies do. As far as me.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, well, I'm not saying,
I highly disagree with that.
Yeah, no.
He's
He's
working
probably
elections,
moving
that's
more.
pretty detailed.
He's probably driving more, I mean, like visiting more, out doing stuff more, but man, if I took the time to write down everything I do. It costs you guys more money if I sat down and took the time to write down more.
Maybe you should start doing that, so you do get paid more money for your time.
Because it would add to
Because
your
you
time.
do a lot for the township outside of your.
But I mean, if I sat down and itemized everything I did, I mean, right now I generalize it and I say, okay, I checked emails, I took phone calls, I did non-sufficient funds, I did whatever, meetings, or, I write down generally what I do. But if I sat down and filled out a time card, the way that you're wanting, you guys will be having more hours.
I understand your opposition, but let me ask you this. Do you do any personal emails, browsing, and phone calls, stuff, messages while you're on the clock?
If my phone rings or text, yeah, pick it up. I do it with my other work. I get $25 an hour via estimator and construction drafting and
Well,
they don't care.
Yeah, I know, but this is different. This is here. this is, this is a part-time, not a job to make a.
I don't think it's if it's a 2-minute thing, I don't think it's something you're gonna check out and check in, and I just think it's just the way it is.
Yeah, but you see, it adds up in a day. If you're charging 4 hours, and a half hour of that is personal things, and that adds up over the course of a week and over the course of a year. You've already increased your pay. So really, you have to do the same amount and, with 114 hours less in the fiscal year to stay under that budget cap. So if you're doing personal things, you start in the township, it's not gonna work.
Is
It's
there,
not, yeah, and it's not all the time. I just don't think it's gonna be conducive. You're taking just as much time to sit and write out, okay, I left at 10:15, I'm back at 10:20. I think it's just taking, I don't see that balancing out.
And just to piggyback off of that, so how is people when they are in the township and they're up on the stage and they're just talking casual, how is that timed? People are signing out so they can stand around and BS with like the maintenance guy and stand around the office BSing with them about general stuff. Those are things that people are checking out and then checking back in.
Well, one person does it that way.
Then that's very interesting. I guess I need to spend a lot more time down at the township office.
I guess you do.
So this, because I think it contradicts our ordinance, I'd like to discuss with our attorney in this next one as well.
There are two things on here that I see, and you're talking about conduct and, how that, an employee treats the board.
In our policy manual.
Yeah, it is in the employee policy manual, those things are already in there. So I don't think it needs to be in here if it's already in there when every employee.
What page is that on?
In your second page, you have conduct and then you have the board as the boss.
I can't, on my second.
On yours, yes, yeah, and those are in the employee policy manual.
I'm telling you.
Got it. I was like, can I make a suggestion? I mean, if I can understand, and I know John, and I don't feel like he would do anything wrong, but as that position is somebody that drives around, I mean, maybe to have a map that shows where he went, so he has that, that's fine. I know you. I mean, there's ways to do that. But I just think we're adults, and to be super micromanaged, I've been under employers like that, and I've quit because I'm self-propelled.
Yeah.
And I get my stuff done, and even though I work from home, I don't do, like, I'll sit down and this is the only computer I have up, I'll do that. And once I'm done doing that, I will do something else. I mean, that's the beauty of working at home, and I shut it off, like I get an hour here, I get an hour there, I do, and I write those down separately. I just think that you're gonna lose good employees if you start really nitpicking big time.
Well, I'm just going to say if that's the policy from here on out, no more discussions with people on the board about policies and things that we can improve.
Even though I usually don't.
Yeah, no more.
Yeah. You're my boss.
Okay. Can I go?
Yes.
There's mobile timekeeping apps that track where you're at. We use Time Anywhere where I currently work. There was, I work for your nephew. There was Workforce that worked with QuickBooks. I don't know where we do payroll at right now.
That's gonna switch.
It's gonna go to
Okay, but
BSNA.
BSNA probably has something that
They
would
do.
offer timekeeping for hourly employees as well.
Thank you.
And it keeps track of everything, like where you're at, how long you were there, when you were stopped, how fast you drove to get there.
That all sounds great. I'd like you to, if you could, either.
Well, we need to.
The hard part
we
about
need to
that,
speak when we do our BSNA training.
Yes.
To ask
You know,
about that.
if you
If know
start,
an app, let me know, or send it to me, unless you can do it.
Well, are you on the BSNA education phone calls?
yeah,
Because you can ask right on BSNA
Okay.
when we meet with them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We can have you added to it, to the team meetings.
here's what, That's the last I'll say about it. Here's what I see happen, because I know John's in the neighborhood, I'm in the neighborhood. Somebody can stop me on the side of, oh, did you get my tax payment, did you do this? Oh, wait, that's 5 minutes, I gotta write that down. There's 5 minutes there, and then he'll see another person in down in Village Market, hey, John, did you check that? Oh, that's another 10 minutes right there. I mean, right now, he probably doesn't do that, right? You go in, and you see him somewhere on the street, somebody sees me, Terry, I talked to Terry, Dawn outside, I don't write it down, but you start doing this. And then it's gonna be every little 5 minutes, and it balances out. I mean, that 5 minutes taking a phone call or texting versus the 10, 5, 20, 25, whatever minutes, meeting somebody on the street.
I can
you're asking
see
for trouble.
how people are listening to change. Keep in mind, I'm a trustee. And it's my job to be fiscally responsible and to find things that are wrong in our current system. To claw back money we're overspending, like on Spectrum and other services. So, yeah, I'll be the bad guy, I'll be the fall guy, that's what I'm here for. So we might not see, we might not see eye on things, and I can see how that change would be not comfortable or not, I can see how you would be resistant to that. But we've got to stay within our budget. We can't be charging the township while we're doing personal things. And that's all there is to it. If I did not do anything like this, then I would not be doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Just a little sidetrack here, in our personnel policy, there is a section on pay and timekeeping. I'll just make an initial observation here that it probably could have a few changes. It's very vague and kind of doesn't go after the things we've been talking about. Okay, maybe it does need to be brought up a little bit. But I don't know, my own personal feeling is that this, that we're reviewing regarding the policy for zoning administrator, I think it feels to me anyway that it's directed at our current one rather than more as a policy for all of them and inclusive. That's just my own personal opinion.
Well, the intent was to start with this and then to get in discussion on how parts of this would apply to other employees. Okay, another option is, which I would not encourage, is, you guys are, how's your pay? Remind me, all three of you. Salary, okay, so that way, if you're gonna mess around, do personal things,
You get paid less.
I'll take a salary, you put me at 15,000.
Well, I know, I'm not suggesting, that's why I said I'm not suggesting it, because if it costs us more, there's no incentive for you to do better.
I know, I make sure I just get the.
So we gotta stick with the employee and, the employee method. And we need to, be honest, or we need to at least put out there, hey, you can't be charging us for, kind of things that you do, you're not personal time, you can't charge the township for that. And that's very vague, what you mentioned, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because, I see a need for this. This is perhaps something we're not gonna resolve tonight. But it needs to be addressed and resolved eventually.
I don't know if you still have it in your emails or whatever. But a couple of years ago, Dee created a worksheet for the maintenance. Yeah, it looked like really good, it's where you're at, what you're doing, how long you're there. So, and the purpose was, like, in the cemetery, you know, we're charged from the whole
We
thing.
discussed that.
Yeah,
Oh, did you already? Because I don't know if you got a copy of it, but
We haven't got a copy of it, but you've discussed it and.
it looked really,
Yeah,
it looked really good and appropriate,
Well,
except they refused to do it.
well, a time sheet is still, it's only on, says personal.
that's right, thank you, Bob. And we're, as we all know, Craig is resigning effective, April 30th, we're gonna have, a new maintenance person in place. We need to really address personal time versus company time, and not, it needs to be addressed, it needs to be in place. So,
Well, we've discussed a number of things here already. We're almost done here an hour.
Well, I did wanna touch base on one thing. So this right here definitely has to go to the attorney, and how one person was hired to do specific things and agreed to take a job under specific things versus how another person did, that would be, that would be, you can't compare the two, because one person agreed to do a specific job for a specific amount of money that included a specific amount of benefits. Just because he doesn't have the same benefits as what somebody else agreed with to do the job, does not mean he deserves what the other person did.
I wanna read this so that the public can hear it.
Please do.
All right, so this is from Craig Van Loon, it's dated today. His hire date is January 10th of 2022. And his letter starts out in regards to number 1, vacation pay, personal time off. Number 2, toxic work environment. And number 3, no defense and representation by the Clearwater Township Board to defend and protect me. Craig goes on to say, I have been employed as a maintenance employee with Clearwater Township, Michigan for 3 years, 3 months, and approximately 2 weeks to present. I only received 5 personal days paid off since January 10th of 2022. Leo Zimmerman Jr. received 1 week PTO for his first year, 2 weeks PTO for his second year, and 3 weeks PTO for his third year. I hereby request to be paid 5 weeks of PTO for the second and third year of my employment. I also believe that employment laws have not been adhered to, and that I am a victim of a dysfunctional township who has not complied with state and federal laws. So, Craig did this on his own. Attached here too is a letter to Tom Backers from Leo Zimmerman Jr. It says, Tom, as you can clearly see in my contract, on a vacation after 1 year from the time I was hired, which was September, not January, you earned 5 days. 10 days after 2 years and 15 days after 3 years. My last full year of service was September 2019 to September of 2020, and that is what my 7 days of vacation are from. What Belinda is saying, she owes me this plus a true time from September 2020 to August 2021. So as you can see from her spreadsheet, she has left out 4 months of my service from 2020 to 2021. Now to the sick time, she has to go back from when I started employment to show how many sick days I have. Not just the 8 months she has shown. And furthermore, technically, I did not turn in a timesheet the week I spent in the hospital. Somebody went to the garage and took my timesheet and filled it out. So it is on them that I got paid, not me. So on top of vacation time that she owes me, she also owes me 12 hours of sick time unless she goes back 8 years and proves it. So in conclusion, I expect the rest of my vacation money by 8/20 of 21, and my sick time should also be paid by then also. Please make this happen. You know I am right. Leo Zimmerman Jr.
Is there an employee contract with that?
I was just gonna say,
I am very.
It has to do with Craig.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do
What
with
does
Craig.
he have to do with Craig?
Well, listen,
No.
I did not convince Craig to do this. He brought this to me. Okay?
Okay.
And I
This is-
think it should go to our lawyer.
That's fine, I heard you say
That's
that
what
3
I-
times already, it doesn't mean that we don't discuss it, and it doesn't mean that the public doesn't hear it. Okay, Craig was a very good maintenance man for the time he's been here. The community loves him. He is a nervous wreck, he's been harassed, he's been stalked, he's been, treated horribly, and he is a good man. I feel very bad for what he has gone through. He has saved us so much money. compared to when he worked with Bielski, and when we had 24,000 in gas, and under Craig by himself, 6,000. I mean, that's an $18,000 difference. We know
That just
about.
means he's an honest person. That
He's an
doesn't
honest
mean
person.
that
Well,
he's saving us money. 'Cause it was
hold on, let me
Bielski that was
finish.
wasting the money.
What he's saying is, I've been an honest man, I've done my job, I've saved the township money, lots of money in gas and not having another maintenance person. And I feel that the township, not paying me or offering me additional paid time off for being here over 3 years is ridiculous. That's what he's saying.
Our policy thing has a complete thing on sick days, vacation, the whole thing. is
And he
laid out.
agreed to it when he was hired.
Hold on, so does it say how many weeks he's entitled to?
Yes.
Okay, so is he gonna be paid the time that he hasn't been taken?
Does it say use it or lose it?
No, it doesn't say use it or lose
Cause
it.
I know
I don't think.
90% of
it
my
is.
employers, if we don't use our PTO by our,
It says accumulated vacation leave will be paid to the employee upon separation at the employer's employee's current rate of pay. So yeah, he's got a vacation time, and I know just recently there's been new laws on that.
that's the sick time laws.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, there's sick time listed on there too.
So to continue, Craig said to me that he is gonna be, discussing this with a lawyer.
Yeah, I would have to look back on his time sheets
What is
too.
there to
I know he
discuss?
did
I
get paid
am
for some
fine.
vacation days. I don't know how many.
I have no
think
idea
this is
what he wants to
something that our
discuss.
attorney should.
Well, we don't even know what he's asking for at this point.
Well,
He's asking for
he's
like
asking
5
for
weeks
5 weeks.
5 weeks, that he hasn't
of
taken,
compensation.
yes. In comparison to Leo Zimmerman Jr.
Well,
There's a
they're
huge
two different
difference.
people, so.
Yeah.
between those two people.
It has nothing to do with Leo, it has everything to do with our township policy.
This is.
Yeah, I say it's gotta turn me with knowledge for it.
No, I don't know if our policy says anything about accruing.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
this
think
is-
you
this
can
is
take
tough.
last year's vacation time and add it to this year.
I can, where I work. I use it or I lose it. If I don't use it, I don't get paid for it.
Yeah, it's an attorney thing at this point.
Yeah, it's something that has to go to our attorney, because the board needs to be protected
He's safe.
against threats.
Well, if he's talking 5 weeks.
Keep in mind, do not shoot the messenger.
Mhm.
Okay? I'm hearing these, hostilities and things of that nature. Well, how would it be if he gave it to one of you?
When we're being accused of no defense and representation by the board, we have no control over what the public does. He's a public employee, he can be on the public.
And that could be your response to Craig. If
Well,
you do a written response, you can give that to him.
Well, David, and I respect you, but you're sitting there saying he's a good guy, he's done really good work. I'm sorry, I've been here for 4 years and I've seen him yelling at people, I've seen him carry on, I've seen him go, it's not stalking when we have a board member that is actually keeping track, it's like you, keeping track and trying to do your job. At the time, Joanne was a board member and he was out, he was part of the whole thing. I got an audio of him going off in a public meeting, I've seen him and his behavior in public. So to sit there and say, he's a good guy, you can handle yourself better. This whole thing is just, it should just go to the attorney.
It should go to
Wait a
the,
minute, who could handle themselves?
Craig can handle
Okay,
himself.
well, here's my take on it.
But you're saying you're not here for him, he just hands you that.
That's right,
So-
but I will say this, my own personal observations. Every time I drive Crystal Beach Road, Craig's working, he's got the lawnmower, he's got the rake going, he's got stuff in the back of the truck, the guy's working around here. Down at Heritage Park, so you guys see what you see, I see what I see. Craig shared with me, his phone has been blowing up since he resigned. People blowing up with people texting and calling him,
Well, of course,
asking, please, I'm sorry, don't stay, don't resign.
there's
don't
also
act.
been plenty that have been fine with it. There's been plenty that have been fine with it, they're gonna call up, I'm glad you left, I'm glad you're not there.
Well, I didn't hear,
There's two
he didn't
sides
say
of
those
it.
kind, here's the thing, that's what he's telling me, don't get the messenger.
Well, I'm just
Okay.
saying, you have to look through it with both sides, and I've been part of it, both sides. Sitting back, and I've never gotten his face, and I've never, I've heard a lot of stuff, I've heard audios of him. He's not this glorified angel, I'm just telling you.
Okay, fair enough.
And there's a lot of drama that's come with him.
You
So,
gave your opinion,
Yep,
and I gave mine,
okay,
and that's what's great about this country.
yep, we can agree to disagree.
I wanna ask you,
Mhm.
did you notice in December, just before Christmas, when Craig was putting up the wreaths, I helped him 2 days, because I didn't think it was right that he had to do it by himself.
I didn't notice that.
Well, no,
I mean,
there-
I'm not
there's a lot
denying
of
it
things
happened.
you don't notice, but I helped him so much.
Because what?
I said I helped, I
No,
helped.
before that, you said.
There's a lot of things that you.
There's a lot of things
A lot of things, what?
that people have, I have helped.
Body cam would cure
My
that
gosh,
problem.
but 2 days, I didn't have to do that. I have never face to face had a problem with Craig. That is the honest God's truth. I've only tried to help him, and the only thing we've discussed since the first of the year is he had an idea in December of how to figure out a water system for the island. We had it, we thought, figured out, we came to the meeting, Bob has another idea. Craig was trying to help us figure that out. There was no issues. And I know this, this.
He's a victim. He's a victim. So can we just?
Yeah,
get to the
Yeah,
attorney?
we need to move on from
We,
this,
we
but
need to have an attorney look at this, and also if you think of the last meeting, at our last board meeting, there was a lot of innuendos and assumptions that were thrown around about community members, families, things that are inappropriate. In November, the first meeting we had, both the office administrator and the maintenance individual spoke about all of the things that they were disgruntled about. And we asked at the next meeting, can they just talk to the board as an employer, not spend an hour going over things that they're disgruntled about? Things that we can actually address and settle. I don't think in a meeting, getting 5-10 minutes and just complaining about everything that you dislike about your job is going to accomplish anything.
we did, I believe, I had a resolution in that packet that you said that people would come to the supervisor with
Yes,
the problems
yes.
first, so.
Does this township have a system where every year
it was an
there's an
appropriation.
annual review?
That's in our
Okay,
policy
but
too,
is
it hasn't been done.
It hasn't been done. Okay, so here's the thing. If it had been done, every year for the last 3 years, how you doing, Craig? You got vacation time due that you'd like to use? He didn't have that support. Well, I know what's in writing, but you see, an employee doesn't know how to, other places an employee have reviews and they go over this stuff with their employer. They'll say, look, or the employee, they'll say, you've got this vacation time. If you don't lose it or you don't use it, you're gonna lose it, okay? And things of that nature. If Craig had had that support, I think things would be a little different and he wouldn't be seeking 5 weeks vacation right now.
We as a board are into this at 6 months.
I know we are.
We can't change what.
I'm not talking about.
Yes, we can't change what
I'm talking
happened, and
about
we've
3 years.
discussed
I'm talking about 3 years and 3 months.
under.
The guy's been working here and the
But we've
previous,
been here for 6 months, Dave.
I'm talking about the previous 2 boards, Bob.
Yes,
How
and
can
that
we
has
change
nothing
that?
to do
We
with us.
can't, well, we can change it by doing the right thing now as a board with
Yeah,
our
by setting
employees.
policies, not by handing somebody money. This needs to go to our attorney.
I agree, I think,
Tom Backers was his support system.
It's fine.
He did request a review before the election. He did ask for that, but you know how our board meetings go, how full they get. We just didn't have time to get that done. And I think it was like 2 months maybe before the election that he requested that, trying to get it done before, because he knew that you guys wouldn't know what kind of an employee he was, and you couldn't do a review,
And then
really.
go private sector employment. Your review is a year and 3 months, because you have your 90-day probationary period. Typically, is a year and 3 months after hire, then it's a calendar year after.
Right.
And it's no guarantee that you're
And
gonna
no
get a
guarantee.
raise, or that you're gonna get more vacation time,
I think
or
it's-
that you're gonna keep your job.
I
or
didn't
that you're
mention
gonna
any
get
of that.
benefits.
And we are at will employment too. So.
I didn't mention any of that, Michelle.
No, she's just stating it.
I'm just
She did
stating
that.
that.
All right, well, we should, and I think this is not something we can decide. This is gonna take the lawyer looking at it. Like I said, though, it's gonna cost us more to have a lawyer look at it than, you know, what we're
Well,
gonna
I'm
consider.
sure Christine could probably look back and see how many days he's taken, how many he's deferred.
Yeah.
But we,
It's in,
that it has to be paid,
oh, yeah, it says at time of.
Records are archived. I'd have to-
so she just has to see how much is missed and.
Which won't be too difficult.
Yeah,
Well,
all right, so then, I'm assuming that I have permission to forward this on to our attorney. Have him take a look at it. I don't know what records he's gonna want as far as, you know, I don't know how he'll know what is owed if he doesn't have any employment records. That's usually
Attorney 1.5 hours to, because we have our policy for it.
you know,
Is it in here?
yeah, it was. Close to get back. Anyway, so is that general consensus here? You want me to contact the lawyer and, you know,
Absolutely.
see if there's any validity to this and, you know, myself, I'm gonna treat Craig fairly, and if he's owed something and, you know, I'm not trying to keep something from somebody if they've earned it.
That's why a lawyer should look at it.
Mhm.
We shouldn't decide as a board, it's because we think he's nice or not nice, we should have an attorney look at it and provide the policy, what he agreed to, and what he should be paid after his last day.
I think presentation hurt it a little. I don't think comparing to Leo was the best way to approach it. I think approaching from the policy standpoint and saying, hey, I think I'm owed this, but it's kind of like my big sister got something more than I did, so I mean, I just, presentation, I think.
All right, bro, let's,
uh,
all right, we're still looking at township policy. One thing I want to point out, okay, and, we've had this general policy manual floating around the township for quite a while. The last board to work on it was in 2019. I don't believe it was ever completely finished. There are many sections in the policy. Township board policy is section 5. Or article 5, I'm not sure which one, if it was section 5. But I'm gonna suggest, since we've already been here an hour, that maybe so that we can list the job description, or we'll have a job description for our maintenance guy, we gotta get an ad out there and start recruiting. We're going into the summer and we don't have somebody to even cut the grass at this point. The other option would be to hire out some of our groundskeeping. That's been done in the past. I don't know what the cost benefit or whatever would be, but if it, you know, might cost us more, I don't know. I haven't looked into that, but it's an option. If we can't find someone, maybe we could do it on an as needed basis. You know, pick up the phone if it needs cutting, you know, or something like that.
That costs about 3 times more than contracting somebody.
Yeah, that could be even a couple weeks, you know, every couple weeks more, you know.
Yeah.
Could save money.
no, it's every week.
No, it takes when the sprinklers are going at Heritage Park, it's twice a week. And Freedom Park can get away with once a week. Stone Shields used to do our cemetery. And when we took over, I checked all around what everybody does, and Joe Keys and I were hoping to hire 2 part-timers. It didn't happen that way. We hired a full-timer and a part-timer. But before that, trying to find out, Stone Shield was one of the top mowers around here because he did that. I asked him, he said, I want more jobs. I said, ask us. I said, how much would it cost for you to do, Heritage Park? He said, $400 a time, $300 a time, Freedom Park. And so, some of you might remember, I asked my grandson to use my son's equipment and mow it and see how long it actually took. And that's what it was. I paid my grandson $400 for there and $300 for Freedom Park. Asked for a donation slip, which I got, so we would know how long it took. But Heritage Park takes 2 times a week when the sprinklers are going.
We shouldn't have to worry about hours.
Hmm?
You shouldn't have to worry about hours, you just get it paid and done, you don't have to worry about keeping track of your time cards and.
Yeah, there are other maintenance needs though, like it's just mowing, so
Yeah.
that is just, you know, to
It
get the
took
mowing
A
done.
temporary,
I think Stone Shields was 320, we gotta think about that one.
Okay,
You could put an ad out for
We're
it.
done.
so do we wanna nail this job description down so we can post the ad to recruit somebody? Okay,
Did they bring the job description that we currently have?
I did, I did. There's something close. Actually, I have the job description that Craig Van Loon wrote down.
Well, good start there, good start.
Custodial duties, office administrator.
So you ask ChatGPT.
Make a couple copies of this and see if everybody wants to take a look at it. I'm assuming everybody doesn't have this.
One of the things I asked Craig when you guys were discussing this, and Craig, why don't you make up your job description? You know what you do, go through all your parts and stuff and write it down, you know best, but you do. And then I said, you can also work off that, when you get a rainy day, that is on this list of stuff that you can do.
That you can do this right. Yeah, about.
Yeah. Well, we did one, I mean, we did one up and provided it with a time sheet as well as one for the office administrator with a time sheet. So we have done them to compare to the other one, which was attached also. See here. There, but.
Oh, this is what Greg wrote up?
Yes.
Okay.
More or less what our current maintenance guy is reporting that he's doing.
Is this a Wi-Fi printer, or if I forward it to you, you're able to print it?
I just have to plug into
Okay.
the printer to get.
Let's see if I can pull it up. So they,
We'll
this
have to
was,
send it to my email.
this was the proposed one. And then I also provided to you,
It's in our email, isn't it?
yeah, that's what I was looking for. And just forward it. And that was back in December.
Yes,
When did Craig, submit this?
it was not that long ago. I actually believe it was right after we came in as a board,
Okay.
shortly thereafter. Here's,
Did you see the email? Did it come through yet?
no, is this possibly what you sent me?
Let me look.
Starts out nature of work,
Yeah.
and how I already have it.
Well, I didn't know if everybody else kept their copies.
I
If
tried
they
to
wanted
keep it
to
all.
print it.
Okay, so we each want a copy of this?
I think it would be a good idea.
Can everybody have access to their email right now?
Do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna rip this out.
From my phone.
I know.
Right?
Other than if you do like this,
Zoom it
it's a
way in,
little bit
yeah.
bigger to go sideways.
Yeah, I think I can print this out.
Tell you this, I'm not gonna make it.
And then
past
the
9
nature
o'clock,
of
'cause
it
my leg
puts
is killing me
the
right now.
full-time position under the supervision of the township supervisor.
Is that the recommended or the other one?
I think this might be just a cut and dry version right here.
Yeah, it starts this way, Christine.
Okay, so I don't know how to make two sides here.
Oh, you're right, you can see it more than
When you, yeah, I don't even know if this one does, it probably does, but you probably have to look. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, make it comment, Supervisor.
Yes.
There was in the past been two different boards established to hire maintenance people. And both of those boards, 5 members each, spent a great deal of time and hours into this issue. And both boards over multiple year time span separate. Then another board came up with the exact same answer, and the answer was 2 part-time maintenance men. That covers your weekends, it covers your snow that you didn't know was gonna happen, it covers calling in, 1 senior over the other. That's it, but they were 2 part-time, and that gave you 24/7 coverage. And there was a lot of meetings and a lot of time that discussed that.
Sometimes you need to let us guys.
And you do, when you're talking about picking tables, to load them on a trailer, take them to the
Right.
barn to maintain them. It's nice to, hey, you're gonna be here Tuesday for 2 hours, let's do that 2-man job. They spent a lot of time coming up with that, the boards did.
Then I think that's a good idea. I think 2 part-time people is a very good idea.
Another thing too is 2 people can work out a schedule between themselves
Absolutely.
and
You
less
got a doctor's
conflict.
appointment Wednesday, perfect, I'll do Wednesday,
Right.
easy.
Because being as the township, you know, everybody kind of works on a part-time basis anyway. It's not their full time.
Well, it went awry when the backers board hired full-time, and then the second one came on, and we were spending $100,000 a year, it's just bizarre, I mean, they're not sustainable.
Yeah.
You said it sounds pretty soft. Maintenance, I'm gonna very check.
So then where's the time? You can go and
What's happening?
check.
I'm liking a lot of this, I can tell you that.
And if it doesn't facilitate having one person full-time, then maybe we could have a couple of people that work part-time. I mean, how many times have you jumped in and helped do?
On the same over and over again. I think it's-
And jumped in and helped do things that sometimes it is a 2-person job and, you know, Dave too. So maybe 2 part-time people is a really good option.
That's what Joe Keys and I tried to put through, we didn't get it.
Well. You pay benefits to part-time?
Pardon?
You pay benefits to part-time employees? Is that a
Board
state
is saying no in the contract, partly why they're treating.
What if I service trying to follow what was going on, and this we had a good time sheet, we didn't know where to put it, but it was like, there's a whole bunch of time between mowing and snow blowing.
Mhm.
And the whole thing is, I felt like there needed to be a list of stuff to do on those days. And then I also felt that a timesheet almost daily, or at least every couple of days should have been put in, because you go 2 weeks and look back and it just wasn't an accurate timesheet to know what was being done and when.
Oh, I didn't see that on here. I think that's good too.
I just don't know if it's missing anything that he had, the deputies.
I think this one's very good too.
I mean, this is a formal one, so we can add to it, but it doesn't have everything that he had on it. Preferred qualifications, yeah.
I think this, and I don't even know where this came from, honestly, but
We typed it up.
it addresses a lot, maybe 90%, but I think we have some tweaking to do for our individual needs on here.
Yeah,
Or
so,
it doesn't really address like
yeah,
our specific needs.
yeah, it was proposed back in December.
So what would you add? What can we write down? Any notes on it?
Well, I think some of what, Craig put in his, where it identifies where these things are, like groundskeeping, right, Freedom Park, Heritage Park, I mean, it's, rather than just saying, we.
We were trying to, but I printed them and I printed this.
What it is,
with
that
full-time
limit
and a symbol
to that,
of
those
time
spots.
sheet.
I mean, isn't it
And
better
I
say
think
township,
the office
parks, and
administrator back
as a
in
general, so you
December.
can
And I
assign
think
those
we
as
went
needed?
over it.
Okay,
the-
for example, Parks and Rec came up with a
Go.
interactive
Right.
maintenance
And it
flow
made me
chart
very
kind of a
slow.
thing.
I was just wondering.
And that's not in here. We could add it.
That's not on here.
The
Well, he has.
Parks and Rec to-do list.
best stuff. And I still think, again, this has a lot to do with one
So,
$27 an hour.
We're gonna actually fall off over in the corner.
I'm sorry.
I'd just like to add one little thing as far as this, a work list for Parks and Rec. I've been asking them to give a list of things to do to make things simpler for Craig or whoever. And they refuse to do that. They look at me cross-eyed.
They did a chart.
That was just because I put the pressure on them.
Yeah,
I've
they
asked them
did
for
some
years.
kind of chart.
I've asked them for years to do this, and they, even now, to do a chart for things that need to be done, small little items,
Mhm.
and they refuse to do that.
Well, it was at that Parks and Rec meeting over communication, they had the printout that was color
That's
coded.
because I put the pressure on them to do that.
Yeah,
That's the only reason that occurred.
I do too.
Period.
I don't want to send it, just so. We all send it.
So basically, you have your job description, then you have your summary, and then your key responsibilities, and how that's set out. Is it a formal? I think I don't remember.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you wanna look at it? This is the one
I
that.
mean, I can type or change whatever you guys want, if you just make notes on this, we can add them.
We had a maintenance guy that was doing all of these tasks.
That's why I'm wondering if two part-time people might be.
Mhm. I mean, there's a lot here really when you look at it. Not saying that one person couldn't do that. But
Well, it's a generalization.
I would.
It's a
remove,
generalization of what a maintenance person would do.
yes,
I would remove number 12, coordinate and arrange for the hiring of all subcontractors. I don't think that would be the maintenance person's job.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so remove number 12, D.
Remove number 12.
And then my entire adult life.
Yeah. May I say something?
Right. Jefferson from you.
When we hired Craig, we was paying one and then,
Not remember, yeah.
but what I'm saying is, it was supposed to be Chuck, John Bielski knew all kinds of mechanics.
But
Is,
he didn't, so.
but it was supposed to be followed up on.
But we can't change the past, so.
No, you can't, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
no, I
in
know.
the future.
Yeah.
Do you
So,
see number 12?
I crossed it out.
Okay.
Other than that, I
Go ahead,
think it's.
My idea of maintenance is real simple. If a person applying for that job can't look at that building and tell me what's wrong with it, they're probably not a good applicant. For example, that door's been split open as long as I can remember. That brick mold around it is absolutely zero paint on it. So with zero paint on it, it's gonna fail. Just like that door has rotted away 8 inches of the brick mold. So that maintenance person you're hiring should come to this building for 3 hours a week and fix these things. When I walked around this building, I sat in the parking lot last night at 7 o'clock, and the first thing I saw, I didn't even get on my vehicle, and I watched the birds eating worms out of our gutters. That's a problem. That's failure that we're creating by not ever going up on a roof and checking gutters. So I thought, well, I'll just walk around the building. And I'm no expert in maintenance, but the basic maintenance is in front of you when you walk to that building. Then you walk right here behind this window, and there is a landscape timber that is rotted away and moved into the flower bed. I know we have them in the cemetery up there. That should have been pulled out, thrown away, and put another one down. I walked around the back. There's a garbage can back there, big green one, waste management. We don't put that to the road. Why is it there? Oh,
Are we paying for it?
I walked to the back door and I let myself into your building last night. Unlocked.
Really?
Yeah. I happened to catch Margaret and I said, Margaret, I'd like you to witness this. And then we locked it, of course. I continued around the building. That's where that brick molding on that door is rotted away 8 inches. I walked up on the porch. That's where that 110 outlet right behind you outside with a weatherproof cover is broke off. And we just laid it on the outlet. So now the rain that is coming directly on the 110 outlet more people die by 110 electrocution than any other power. That's why you're standing on the porch, was a 110. I walked around the corner and I found broken railings sitting here. I then saw the cigarette butt can full and jammed up. The fact of the matter is, in interview, we failed maintenance people in the past by hiring people that said, example, John Bielski, I'm a welder. I'm a mechanic. Well, then show me that certification. You can't. That's why zoning administrator for years sat empty, because it was a loose job because the description wasn't there. What do? You travel the blacktop roads or the dirt roads? Do you selectively enforce or you evenly enforce? Our maintenance person needs it clear. So I think what you're doing is amazing, and this is a step in the right direction, but the hiring process has to be crucial to wean it down to 2 or 3. You got a guy on the board that has history of maintenance. You got homeowners on this board. Now there's no question in my mind this is gonna be done right. But always remember, we spent 10 people, hours and hours and hours, and told you the answer. The work was done in the committees. And this building was just an example of some average maintenance man who walk around and see all this problems. That should have been different.
I was just in the pump house just a couple days ago. You're right.
Thank you.
I just got one thing to add with that. I've also, over the years, asked for a list, good idea to do lists. Nobody has done it. The township hall, the building, the gym is critical, needed to be caulked in a few spots. There's mold going in between the walls. And I got this a few years ago. I know what we're talking. Margaret was gonna order the caulk and then that got kiboshed. I mean, I agree, a list. I've been asking for a list for years and I get met with just, what are you talking about? So that's kind of what he's saying too.
Even the striping of this parking lot, you can buy the upside down paint and do what you used to be able to, and you walk behind your little striper. But we sub it out for $1,000 sometimes. And I'm like, are you kidding? That's silly. That's fiscally not responsible. I know you guys are gonna do a maintenance.
Mr. Chair,
We gotta get back
could
to,
you please get control of the meeting?
Sorry.
Job description has a breakdown for other sections, so it has what needs to be done in the village, what needs to be done in the hall, what needs to be done
Where's
in
that?
the parks, the old one. This building, it has a breakdown of every area that they're responsible for taking care of. That's in the old one.
Oh.
The old.
Do you want that in a job description though, or is that something that you just give them? I mean, because the job description basically gives you an overall what your job is.
And your duties are usually in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
duties then.
Yeah, so you have your jungle, so we could add both combined together, is that what you mean?
Well, I don't
You
know how
have
to
your
get
job
detail.
description, and then you would have duties, so I would suggest, like, your duties, if you interview 3 people and you narrow it down to either 1 full-time person or 2 part-time people in the offer letter, you would have, this is what your duties are, this is what your hours are, this is the amount you'll be compensated for it. And then there's accept or decline, they would sign accepting or declining,
Who are you talking about?
declining. You know, that, but a job description is gonna be overall, this is what it entails.
Okay.
And then the duties we can spell out on an offer letter to somebody, and they can accept or decline. Because then when you go, you didn't empty the can with all the cigarette butts packed in it at the little red schoolhouse. They go, well, it's not my job description. They can go, but guess what? It's on your duty
Yeah.
that you agreed to do in your offer. Like, we have to do that a lot in my industry, so.
And a basic, posting job.
So it's an overall
Right.
of what is expected. And then in the offer letter, what your duties are.
Okay, so you, yeah, what you.
So then
actually-
nobody balks or says, hey, I should get more money because I'm doing this. No, it's in the offer letter that you agreed that you would do.
It's nothing added, that's just
Right.
what you.
okay, I think
And D removed, number 12.
yep, I see number 12 lined up. Is there any other items on the building and grounds maintenance worker job description that we all have? Is there any other changes or anything like that anybody wants to consider or talk about? What I'm gonna propose is that I take Craig's letter with the specific Clearwater specific job duties and that, and kind of blend it with this initial one here, but I would like everybody to tell me that everything that they see in the job description is okay. I mean, we obviously lined out 12. Is there any other stuff that needs to be added or removed in that one? And
Well, this is another question that I have. So if we include for a maintenance person, like if they're cleaning up, like in general, like cleaning restrooms and they're mopping and sweeping floors and stuff, do we still need to have a separate janitorial person who does that?
I don't see how a maintenance person, given the fact of what all we have going on, I don't think that they could.
So then that would be
In the
another
winter,
thing.
Craig did the gym floor, because our floor cleaner broke and he has to do it by hand.
Right.
And I don't think we want our custodian to have to do that.
Right, but that's
Somebody's
what I'm, well, that's why I'm saying that is in that description, so maybe we should take the janitorial duties out.
Oh, we have janitorial duties in there.
Yep, and there is another specific job description for janitors, or for the cleanup person, so we'll get to that another time, but, okay, what number is that?
I'm looking at it on my phone, so I gave Dee my copy.
I don't know, everything from this is merged into this in a more professional, clean way.
Okay,
So I just did a new one, and then the physical demands and required knowledge, skills, and abilities, they should be already in this one, so I should have a new one to you in your email. And
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
I
think
see
the
you
fact
added
that
some
they
to it.
listed basic too. So
Yeah,
like, they're not gonna come in and be an electrician, an HVAC person, a carpenter, or a plumber, but they might have some basic, overall idea of what those jobs are.
Yep.
It's almost like we're hiring a husband. Think about the
Or my
jobs
husband, yeah, I mean, I do all that, so. Your husband does that?
too. No.
No, I was gonna say.
Okay, I don't,
But my reads don't listen to my one.
Or they're not from the storm. Tom is the.
I like this one that I gave you because it says minimum requirements. High school diploma or GED, valid driver's license, CDL preferred, or willingness to obtain completed,
I talked.
which we don't.
Very-
Do we need that?
don't,
We
we
don't need
can't.
that. Do we need a CDL?
No, we don't need a
Just maintenance people?
CDL. Jim, they don't need a CDL to run the tractor or anything like that.
Chauffeurs, if it's over 10,000.
Yes. Okay. Experiencing groundskeeping, facility maintenance, landscaping, snow, ability to operate lawnmowers, snowplows, utility tractors, and basic maintenance tools, physically able to lift 50 pounds and perform.
where are you reading?
This is the one I just sent you on the email that I had ChatGPT do, but I combined it with the ones on this. This one's more professional and it's laid out clearer than this one. And I just combined them. This one has the minimal
Print
requirements.
out the new combined one we're looking at now?
I just forwarded it to you.
Okay, so we're tossing this over.
No, we're combining.
I'm combining it right now.
Okay, but we're getting rid of this because we have a new one now.
I just
No,
added,
we're combining.
I just
the
combined it
Well,
right
we
now.
need to work on one here because
Yeah.
I can't work on three at the same time.
You gave me two and I'm combining it into one.
Okay,
That's
so
what
that
I'm doing
makes
right now.
three.
Well, no, because I'm combining it into one for you, so you'll have one. I'm giving you one.
And
I'm
then
telling you right now, we're working on
she's
it.
removing number 12, she's
Yep.
removing the janitorial, so.
Yep, and all the other stuff is already merged. This is a special
So I'm
event.
gonna be printing up another one, is what we're saying.
I'm finalizing it. Let's say I'm finalizing it.
We're finalizing the one that you have in your hands.
Keep up, Jim.
Okay, well, Baba has one over here too, and he's emailed it as well.
Oh, now I got four. That's okay, I'm merging it, so if you have something that is on here that you want, put on here, I can put on here, we gotta merge it with something.
I guess I should ask the question, who is doing this?
Apparently, I'm writing it right now.
She's typing it, we're telling
Yes.
her what we want adjusted and amended that's on that proposed job description.
I'm merging it for you.
Yep.
So we got.
In other words, I'm gonna be printing another one, is all I'm asking.
In a minute, when we're all done. we can
And
print it
we're
out.
removing the janitorial. Is there anything that anybody else wants?
That's what
removed
I
or
asked a while
added
ago.
to that job description?
That's what I asked a while.
What item number is the
I
janitorial?
didn't.
Okay, so we've taken off 1 and 12, correct?
Yes.
Anything else?
I thought we were
Wait.
putting the janitorial one on.
No, we're gonna do that separate. They're not gonna be cleaning
I think-
bathrooms and things like that.
Facility
Yeah,
maintenance
we still have facility maintenance
and
duties,
upkeep.
Yeah,
so just taking the words basic janitorial and
Okay.
then that'll say perform facility maintenance duties.
yes.
Are you doing the parks, or does parks going to have to do that?
Let's get us through one.
It'll just come in the first budget.
I'm gonna get it to the printer, I guess.
And then we're gonna have to determine if we wanna hire one full person to do that, or if we want to hire 2 part-time people to do it. And I'm not opposed to either way.
I kinda like the two thing too, I think that gives us better
It gives us like
flexibility, you know, on the occasion when the 2-person job is required, they can work together.
Yes, and some might have strengths that the other doesn't have.
Right.
Especially in the summer, When I volunteered for 5 months to pick up garbage, it was every day.
Right. I'm thinking and I'm hoping that there are people in the community that would volunteer to work with our maintenance people on, painting, something or whatever.
Sure, there's people on probation that need community service time.
That may be something we want to add in the job description is to manage volunteers.
Can I read this? You want me to read this to you?
The whole thing.
Does
Well,
it
it's not that
have,
long now.
Does it have anything to do with keeping up with the inventory and supplies?
How can it not be that long if you combine two things together to make one?
Trim the fat, and trim the fat.
What did you just say to me?
inventory?
Like keeping track of, like, if we need,
The serial
paper
numbers.
towels, cleaners, bags.
No,
those kinds of
they
things.
keep track of the tools and the equipment inventory.
But also, they keep track of
They
the
do,
supplies, right?
yes.
While we're going through these, just for the time concerns here. Do we want to post the immediate vacancy
Yes,
for the maintenance person right now? So let's, one way while we're waiting, make that motion that we post the job opening for the maintenance individual.
I second that.
Are you making a motion?
I'm sorry.
The place, the ad.
I mean, I wanna get him hired, whoever it is, poor sucker, whenever we find him.
Okay, post,
You know,
help on that
yes.
for the first plan?
That's a good question.
And if we don't fill the position,
Do you wanna post it as part-time or full-time?
part-time.
Are we going to do part-time or one part-time or one
I
full-time?
think that remains to be decided, that's what we're doing. but-
Yeah, because even if there is 32 hours considered part-time.
Yeah.
By law, yeah.
Anything less.
So you would have up to 32 hours by two people before it becomes full-time.
So we're asking
We
somebody
wouldn't
to
want
work,
that many hours though.
No, we wouldn't require that many hours, but I mean 32 hours and under is part-time.
did I hear initially in our conversations that we wanted to have one of these individuals over the other individual?
I need somebody with more knowledge than not, and then somebody responsible and attentive on mowers and equipment as well.
Oh, I think I answered.
Wouldn't they answer, I mean, they would answer to you, or you could have a trustee oversee.
Cause what you'll get is two people working and then one will say, well, I want this off. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give you that off. And then
There
you're
could be
gonna-
bumping heads.
Equal.
That's why I'm suggesting maybe one over the other might be.
It says in Michigan, there's no legally defined number of hours separates part-time from full-time.
Oh, okay,
Good, thank you.
Really?
so somebody at 40 hours could be part-time,
When's that, when they,
and then they wouldn't get all the benefits of a full.
I believe it's so many weeks in a row.
I thought there has to be some kind of guideline.
That, with that will, it doesn't matter.
If you get certain benefits with
Not
part-time.
everybody though.
Okay, the motion is to post
32
the
hours.
help wanted
Okay.
ad for
Michigan Civil Service
Part-time.
Commission.
maintenance.
I thought it was 32, 36 hours of part-time, but. I'll
Why
read
don't
this
we
to you guys
post
already.
that we're interviewing for the maintenance position? And leave the discussion on hours and availability and duties and assignments or whatever for the interview process or the thing. So I'm just gonna post a more or less generic ad that we're
Maintenance
interviewing
position.
for the maintenance position.
Okay.
Jim, do you want me to read this? Cause I read really fast.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Go ahead.
Okay, job description, blah, blah, blah. Summary, the township maintenance person performs a variety of skills and semi-skilled tasks related to the maintenance and upkeep of township-owned buildings, parks, grounds, and public facilities. Responsibilities include general facility maintenance, landscaping, mowing, snow plowing, and support for public events and seasonal needs. Key responsibilities are perform routine maintenance and minor repairs in township buildings, including basic plumbing, electrical, carpentry, and HVAC support, maintain township parks and public spaces, including mowing, trimming, landscaping, and trash removal, inspect, prepare, and maintain playground equipment, shelters, trails, and park amenities, operate and maintain landscaping and grounds maintenance equipment such as mowers, trimmers, blowers, and hand tools, and utility vehicles, perform seasonal tasks including leaf removal, snow plowing, salting, and shoveling sidewalks and entrances, set up and tear down tables, chairs, and other equipment for meetings, events, and rentals, assist with seasonal projects as assigned, installs and coordinates holiday and seasonal decorations at the various township buildings, parks, and grounds for other events, monitor and restock cleaning and maintenance supplies, complete work orders, and conduct routine inspections to identify maintenance needs, follow all township safety policies, procedures, and regulatory standards, respond to after-hours maintenance needs or weather-related emergencies when required, participate in routine maintenance and repair related township streets, sidewalks, parking lots, and related infrastructure. Activities may include patching, snow and ice removal using light equipment, sign repair or replacement, pavement, parking, street light maintenance, and other projects as assigned. Complete timesheets and maintains daily work logs of projects completed and the equipment, vehicles, and materials used. Completes other paperwork as assigned, responds to public inquiries constructively, refer complaints or complex issues to the township supervisor and or the designated trustee and otherwise represent the township in a positive manner, performs other related duties as assigned. The above statements are intended to describe the general nature and level of work being performed. They are not to be construed as exhaustive list of duties, all duties performed. I'm not reading that.
Sounds good.
You didn't get page 2 in that.
Oh, you want the rest of it? The
There's
required.
a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, minimum qualifications, high school diploma or GED, valid driver's license, experience in groundskeeping, facility maintenance, landscaping, or snow removal, ability to operate lawnmowers, snow plows, utility tractors, and basic maintenance tools, physically able to lift 50 pounds and perform outdoor labor in all weather conditions, reliable, self-motivated, and able to work independently or as part of a team. Work conditions, work performed both indoors and outdoors in a variety of weather conditions, exposed to chemicals, machinery, dust, and loud noises, flexible schedule required for snow removal, seasonal events, and emergency responses. Preferred qualifications, prior experience with municipality or public grounds maintenance, knowledge of safety procedures, landscaping best practices, and basic building systems, familiarity with small engine and equipment maintenance, additional responsibilities, cemetery sexton, coordinate burial site preparation, ensure plots are properly marked and maintain cemetery grounds, including mowing, trimming, and debris removal, maintain accurate cemetery records, which probably would not be that. Well, I mean, they would know it, they would maintain it, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna take that one off. And grave looking, I don't know, maintain accurate cemetery records, including plot ownership, intermittent logs, and grave locations. They need to know grave locations, do they not? Work with funeral directors, we'll come back to that one. Families and township staff to schedule burials and provide site access. Ensure cemeteries maintain in a respectful and orderly manner in compliance with township and state regulations. Assist with the installation of keep up signage, fencing, pathways as needed. Respond to inquiries from public regarding cemetery plots and regulations. That was added later, so what part of that do we know? They don't do the records.
True.
They do need to know plot ownership though and grave location, do they not? No, maybe they do. Do they need to know? It's available.
Yeah, Craig always used the map. He had to find it on the map before it could go out and find it in the cemeteries.
So we just need to word that differently to about grave locations, familiarize oneself with grave locations and whatever.
Something like that.
That, and I think we should, identify like what some of these areas, because like in Craig's description of his thing, he actually lists the areas where he works. Like, he's a groundskeeper, but doesn't say where the grounds are, so his list, I kind of like the way he put in there, you know, specific areas.
That's
Would that be
what I
more
was talking about, the
like
old job description, it has that breakdown in the job description, and that's what Michelle was saying, we would put that in with the job offer.
The details.
Because they find it and they agree to it, so they don't come back and go, I didn't know I was gonna be doing this, I want more money to do that, that's not my job. It's all listed in the duties and all her letter.
And that could be something that's done later, so we're not doing it tonight, we just needed this tonight, so we had it.
And then they would accept or reject that, they decline the job or they accept the job.
Mhm.
And then it goes in their employee file.
So I changed that line to familiarize oneself with grade locations and markers. All right.
Okay, is that now capable of being emailed to everybody and I can print or
Yes, delete my last one, because you'll get confused.
delete your last one? Oh, the last email.
I'll put new on the side.
Mr. Supervisor, one very important point you missed is the security of the public's assets. One of the things that the maintenance men should be doing is an annual inventory. That should be in a job.
It was not in there? Okay.
Because that's how we lost tens of thousands of tools recently.
Mhm. I don't remember seeing or
It's not in
reading.
there.
It should be in there for risk management alone. They should be asking you.
Line 13 is, maybe the line that we could add it to.
That was under the warranties.
That's under the records.
Okay.
And is the prior maintenance person bond it?
With, well, no, but I'm saying with it.
So if they were covered up, they were bond.
So, yeah, it's absolutely, because I'm so stressed in.
Yeah, I was wondering like if something was stolen.
Yeah, I know, yeah. No, yeah, okay. Let's talk about that. Let's make a motion then. Okay.
My spare time.
Oh, I did want to state to the board and the public, if we don't have a maintenance guy hired by the time Craig leaves, for $20 an hour, I'll do the mowing at my convenience. Just to try to help keep her.
I make a motion that we approve Bob to do that.
No.
No.
You
I'm
guys
gonna
can.
break up the miracle girl.
So,
I'm serious. I make a motion that we approve Bob $20 an hour to mow and we don't have maintenance by them.
Okay, so Bob and I were talking about, we got a new maintenance person coming on and about this inventory
I'll
situation.
supervise the inventory.
Yeah, because we can't just hire someone to like,
I have a really good.
Thank you.
A lot of hours and then.
Oh, no.
Do I have a second for my motion?
I second your motion.
Thank you, Michelle. All in favor? Aye.
okay, so I added, may be responsible for maintaining routine and specialized equipment warranties and maintenance agreements for machinery and equipment within township owned buildings and structures and perform an annual inventory.
Sounds good.
One last point that has definitely proven to work is when we purchase something throughout the year, it must be tagged, it must be engraved, it must have a home. Even a paint in a different color, but when we would buy a tool at the fire department, they would come in new. And it had to follow the process of tagging it, because a Craftsman wrench, there's a million of them in the township. But if it's engraved Clearwater Township, and
That would be under that.
it must be some type of tagging system to identify. And a lot of things are plastic and you engrave them, they're not coming out. And
Metal
that's,
steel, I have stamps, we can give it a asset number.
that didn't happen as well.
We have to do that at work.
And Joe Keys was in charge of trying to set that up. That would have let tools that just randomly went elsewhere. People will go, hey, I'll bring this back to the township. This chainsaw says Clearwater Township all over it.
I have engravers too.
I don't
see that.
I think they did engrave everything that could be engraved.
Yeah, they should be.
I believe they
tagged.
got that done.
Really? Oh, okay,
I do believe they got that done.
but it's not in the policy, and they,
No,
that's the problem. So when it's purchased, a new purchase item, the maintenance
Maybe they
man
haven't
in charge
put
of
on purchasing policy.
Yeah.
yeah, for me.
Yes,
Mhm.
something.
Well, for any,
You send that
any
in?
asset, really,
Yeah,
right?
I'm fast, so not bad, but
Come on, Gene, I said you were fast.
Am I printing it or am I sending it to you? Oh, you're sending, okay.
When we first.
It's sent to you.
Yeah, I have to get my daughter.
I need a raise.
We don't want to reduce your hours anymore. Come on.
That's perfect. You could not believe the condition of the equipment. It was in bad shape, dirty, just absolutely. So I think now, every time you switch maintenance, all the equipment needs to be looked
They come
at.
here?
Make sure it's in good shape, it's clean, it's whatever.
Going on this weekend, maybe. I'll talk to Jim, but maybe because you've been, would you
So this motion gonna be to.
They just need-
Would you point me around to where you were?
Description.
Yeah, I do believe that the parks, especially Freedom Park, needs to be walked through once a week. I did that when I was maintenance because there are syringes, I found a syringe, Dave saw it in the islands. Of course, islanders will be watching for that, but yeah, we walked through there, my son told me,
Oh, no,
I have to, because those on Facebook, don't take your kids to.
Did you do it? No, I was gonna teach you it. I was gonna try to print it right away.
That's a problem.
You're so fast.
Is that wireless?
I don't know.
I don't
I was
think
gonna find it. That's probably why I didn't.
Because it can't make no one perspective. So, you know, a couple years ago, it was this one. Here's the next.
Oh, do another one?
Yeah.
Can you, oh, I see what you did there.
One thing is gonna start right away is because garbage.
But to make sure that it has.
She just love it.
Big bags with my hat. I filled my van full of it.
I was just joking, I was just joking.
This is the
I was
one.
just gonna get a response on it.
That's
She
Yeah.
was talking about picking up garbage, one of these things
Yeah, I got a pretty good handle on the garbage pickup there.
for our water.
And you make sure to put this on your town.
Greener or volunteer?
It's a volunteer.
What does that mean, volunteer greener?
It's exactly what's listed on there.
But it's
Like they just greet people with a friendly demeanor, show them, or refer them about events and things like that.
Question,
Yeah, so-
FLSA status, isn't that FLMA,
I don't know.
Family Medical Leave Act or something like that?
There's two different things, fair labor standards.
Okay, so that's probably what it is.
Family medical leave act is.
Oh, you have employment type full-time.
Yes, that.
Change it?
We just said part-time.
Oh, we did change it, I didn't yet. Hold on.
Can mark
Hold on.
for this.
10 pages.
Yeah.
It's 10 pages, what? It's only 2 pages.
No,
What are you doing to
I
me?
just printed 5
Five
copies for the board, so
Well,
I
just-
printed 10 pages, but that's okay, we might have more
You know what?
corrections.
You guys all write it on, hand them to me.
That's
I'll
what I
mark
was
it.
just gonna say, we'll have
Are
some
you
corrections.
doing the volunteer greeting?
Yeah. That's my trash. I'm going home.
Saying that.
10 minutes.
Here, you can have this, 'cause I brought up my own,
Okay.
the same.
Same
Yeah,
comments.
guys, so that's- yeah. Perfect.
I think this is pretty good.
Thank you, I mean, good job, guys.
Thanks, Gene.
Chat GTP is really simple.
My secret.
Part-time, I like it.
That's it?
Yeah.
What, you wanna take a quick vote before Bob leaves on this? Is that something, I think, are we ready to do that, or you wanna discuss tonight? Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept or
Adopt
adopt
Adopt.
the
updated.
Clearwater Township maintenance job description.
Let me ask a question. So is it typical to not put in, PTO information?
That's all.
It's in the employee manual.
Okay, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that would apply to all employees. This applies to
And that might
maintenance
be-
employees.
Negotiated it and.
Alright.
And then we're also gonna include the duties during the interview process. So that'll be added to it.
Do you want me to print?
Oh,
No, it's just in word form, so you might want to read it to them, see if they're.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. To adopt the Clearwater Township maintenance job description with the correction to part-time rather than full-time.
Sounds good.
All those in favor?
Wait, who is the second?
Who's second? Bob?
Thank you. And I think we should roll call vote this one
Okay,
because it is policy.
start with Bob.
All right, Bob Underhill,
Yes.
you may leave now. Christine Johnson, yes, I may leave.
Yes.
Jim LePew,
Yes.
David Cox,
Yes.
Michelle Jackson.
Yes.
All right, it is adopted.
Yay.
And we'll close the meeting now.
Now, the next one I wanted to go over was the volunteer description.
Gotta go.
And this is brief, no, it's really brief, so the summary is the township volunteer greeter is the point of contact for residents, visitors entering the municipal building or attending township events. This position helps create a welcoming and positive experience by greeting guests, providing basic information, and assisting with directions or forms. Welcome and greet all visitors in a friendly and professional manner. Provide general information about township services, departments, and facilities. Direct visitors to the appropriate offices or service counters. Assist with simple inquiries and help distribute forms, brochures, and maps. Maintain a neat and organized front lobby or welcome area. Help during special events such as open houses, community days, or meetings. Notify staff when a visitor needs assistance beyond the scope of the greeter's role. Follow all township policies and procedures related to confidentiality and public interaction. Qualifications: friendly, courteous, and professional demeanor. Good communication and interpersonal skills. Basic knowledge of township layout and services. Comfortable interacting with the public in a positive and helpful manner. Dependable and punctual. Ability to sit or stand for extended periods. Flexible schedule based on availability and township needs. Typical shifts range from 2 to 4 hours with options for weekly or event-based volunteering. The benefit is the opportunity to serve the community and meet new people, gain experience in a professional municipal environment, and recognition for volunteer service through township programs or events.
I like it.
Okay,
I didn't hear anything about rentals. I don't know if we'll want to make that.
I don't think the volunteers read the rental.
I don't think the volunteers
No.
should do the
Oh,
rental.
good, I'm glad I said that then.
You're not gonna get rid of
A
that.
board member is different than a volunteer.
So- I can print from your thing.
No,
Oh,
I might be right.
okay,
Hey,
you can email it and we can print it. So the goal is.
y'all want me to
not-
print that real quick?
Yes, yeah, we've got 5 minutes. I know.
No, it's my leg. It's-
Well, this hurts my butt and I don't have.
Oh, yeah.
You want to make a motion or whatever to?
I make a motion to,
Not have it yet?
no, this is for the reader.
you don't, I got a statement bird. I never realized these were so impatient, Jen.
Motion to adopt The-
Job description, volunteer greeter job description.
I don't have a mouse, I don't want to know about that.
I'll second that, please.
My message.
I go ahead and, roll call vote that. Jim with you,
Yes.
David Cost.
Yes.
Michelle Jackson,
Yes.
Christine Johnson, yes, Bob Underhill, no, start.
Attorney policy.
That's all that was on our agenda.
You can have the office administrator.
What's that?
You don't have an office administrator one, just.
No, we didn't get that far.
Yeah. But that's all right, we got a lot done in 2 hours.
You'll have to have another meeting, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of policies to look at, so.
Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna be an ongoing, probably for years.
Who has access to the waivers? I need about a dozen.
Thank
What?
you, Dee. Make sure you charge for your hours.
Work on the street, I'm gonna need about a dozen. And I'm gonna need some of them events last year.
Yeah, I didn't get you.
You donated a bunch.
Steno.
Did it come without an attachment?
Did anybody
It
bring
did,
them
'cause
back,
I
or
brought
do they still have them?
Yeah. Oh, some of them.
Just a
Yeah.
minute.
I just might need it.
Here, I'll
I've
give
got
it
about
to you.
20 volunteers.
Yes,
Do you need something?
no, I need to go home. But we gotta wait till this is done. Oh, just another minute and I'll be okay.
Here, you want my shoes now?
Thank you, ladies.
Well, shoes now.
What I call it, what's it called?
They're honestly, they're great.
Right now, my feet are tingling so bad, it would not be a good idea to take my shoes off. I wouldn't be able to get them back on. That's why I wasn't here for the board meeting. Huh?
Look up the hike. And I just read it today. Run up the feet.
All right, try it again.
I'm done.
Dr.
You're welcome
Moran
to try my
is
shoes.
doing the treatment for me.
No,
I like him.
just send it to you this time.
Okay.
It's easier than trying to load everybody. Well, it took 2 hours to get the 2 job descriptions?
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, I mean, kind of, almost 3. We did look at the beginning at a different one. One thing I discovered in this old policy book, and I don't know, I did not know we had this in here. There is actually a policy for using the property on the north side of the township hall. And so that will affect our Heritage Festival. Because it says here, no alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, then they
That is-
voted that we could
Yeah.
after that, so, but send it to the,
They amended
meeting
it?
Thursday.
Yeah,
Did they amend it when they voted it, or they just voted it?
they just, I don't even remember voting it.
And that's why they did it.
Ordinance 20.
Yeah,
Huh?
Is that considered part of the parks? Or is that just,
Uh-uh.
Good question.
you know what I mean? Good question.
That's true.
Yeah, because the park says heritage and freedom parks
right.
in your road ending, so you.
Was it the ordinance, or was it an ordinance that we were trying to change? And it had,
I'll look
I
at
think
it.
it it said township property. I think that's what we said, was township property.
Well, the ordinance doesn't say private.
Yeah, we made that change and then we rescinded that and I don't think we fixed it.
Are you allowed, with the Open Meeting Act, are you allowed to say, we do a job description or a policy, we send it out to the board ahead of time, and you guys make a list of corrections or make corrections on it and have a shared document where you can do that and then bring it here?
You're giving very good.
Well, yeah, as long as we're not discussing it.
You're just adding your input to it, a document. So you guys can have a shared document on Google Share to where.
Or just email it to everybody and.
Well, it's hard if it's a shared document, and any changes you make is real time. And so then, well, that'd be something to ask, because you get so much more done.
Yeah, I do share.
We adopted that.
Okay.
I want to come on one more thing about Parks and Rec. Couple meetings ago, I got authorization to attend and get paid $50 for a meeting, and that was just for one. I went to an additional meeting after that.
I think we appointed you
Okay.
temporary.
I just wanted to be sure I can start for it and put it on my time sheet, and then it just wasn't
Yeah, I
for
don't think it
one.
was just for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for-
At our meeting this next, the first Wednesday, we're gonna discuss Tim Lund, because the whole board doesn't go, but
Good, let us know what you come up with.
I will.
Yeah, last public comment.
Administrator issue,
I'm
are
sorry,
we still on the officer administrator issue?
What's the issue?
We're postponing that one for the next.
we're doing
No,
volunteers.
volunteer.
Oh,
Well, what do you got? What do you got?
Well, I'm just, have you established who that person's gonna be, is all I'm asking.
We decided at the one board meeting that they would be able to utilize the zoning / treasurer's office.
Do they need an office? They're not answering the phones, are
They're not gonna be in the clerk's office because, there's board members that are gonna rotate into that position, and Christine would be there. Jim walks into the youth copier, we have a quorum.
they? I'm just
So-
saying, do they need an office? Like, I mean.
Yes,
Not
they do,
necessary.
but they just can't stand by the front door,
Why?
Well, there's tables and there's a whole gym. I'm not saying you stay at the
Yeah,
front.
there's also activities going on in the gym too.
Well, and if it is a board member, we can coordinate dates
Okay.
and make sure that,
It's just.
like, I'm never there on Monday, so if you go in on
Just if
Monday,
you have
I'm not gonna be
anything in your office that has.
Yeah, I just-
I would put it under
I
lock
just
and
need
key.
clarification, right?
Yeah, I would
There
put
is
everything under
secure,
lock and key.
confidential information in there. And
Do
that was
you
brought
have a
up,
lock to the file
Yes.
cabinet? Yeah, I lock everything.
I'll talk to you,
Okay,
yeah. So as long as the board's in agreement that that's office is gonna be used for the volunteer, that's fine. As I'm aware of that, and I'd asked Mr. Cost to reattach the zoning administrator sign.
Don't start any crap, John.
I'm just asking
Listen here.
for the sign back.
Listen here, you took down my sign every day like a child, and it was until
is
Thursday.
this over?
it's public. It's supposed to address the
Okay.
public when it's public comment.
Nothing like the pot calling the kettle black on that, you know, your childish games every day.
All right, let's finish with public comment, Dave.
Oh,
And we're having a full session too.
what,
Dave,
About
Dave.
you, clown.
what is the procedure?
Please.
Order, you're complete.
That is-
Yeah.
Order.
Well, it is bad, that's right.
Yeah, it is
You shouldn't
bad.
be calling names to residents, okay? I don't agree with that.
That's
and
Okay.
appropriate.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not gonna retract it.
Dave is well known by Grand.
Don't just,
It's
everybody.
well known by Grand.
Okay, this is, public comment, Dave.
Oh, what is the procedure for me to get approval, possibly get a number 8 on your phone and or get a specific email for Parks and Rec outreach coordinator?
I will work on both of those things for you.
Okay,
I don't know if we have an extra phone right now, we might have to cannibalize one to use, but.
You can use the treasurer one because the phone calls come to my cell phone. The people call. So I mean, if you need a physical phone, then he can use that.
We'll work on that.
okay, then second off, I know I'm redundant. But when we hire a new maintenance person, we establish a list of volunteer, or not, a list of things, and I can get a bunch of volunteers to do a bunch of these things to eliminate tasks for this new maintenance person. And one thing needs to be looked at here, this steam here and this thing is growing, and eventually, when they're vacuuming, we're gonna have a big thing here, we're gonna be putting in carpet. We should get a carpet guy in here to look at this. I'm just,
We have to get bids from 3.
okay, that's getting worse every time we come here.
All right, any other public comment? Last call. Okay,
Yeah,
All right,
there's
that-
gonna be plenty to talk about.
with that, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Adjourning at 9:05.
Thank you. You remember what happened right here, right?